You're tuned in to the DMV Hoops Podcast. The DMV Hoops Podcast is hosted by Kirk Cross.
This is Jonathan Scribner, head girls basketball coach at St. John's College High School, and this is the DMV Hoops Podcast.
Welcome to the DMV Hoops Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things basketball across the Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia areas.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome here to the new, beautiful Spark Athletic Performance Facility here in Beltsville. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mark Stern, president of Capital Hoops. Really excited to have everyone out here for this new event that we're hoping goes well with MAC Media Day. We appreciate all the MAC teams for coming out and all these media members for coming out and getting to know them as we enter the new season. Before we start, there's a few people I really want to recognize who've been instrumental in putting this entire event together. Not sure where they are right now. They're not up here, but a huge thank you goes out to the Spark Ownership Group, Ethan Letter, Darren McClinton, and Kevin Roach. Their vision and commitment to building this incredible facility is unmatched, and we're so grateful for their excitement in hosting tonight's event here, celebrating the MAC. Also want to acknowledge some more members from the Spark family here who have been tremendous in helping putting this together. Lonnie Mulligan, assistant GM, and the basketball training staff, Ibn Mohammed, Tyler Stewart, Vado Morse, Reggie Gardner, Justin Moore. I know there's more that I haven't mentioned, but these are some of the people who have been really helpful. Coach Pop, manager of sports performance. And lastly, I want to thank Kirk Cross and his team from Dynamic DJ. They've kind of put together all of the sound, the microphones, big DJ business. For those of you, they have photo booths. He's also the PA announcer for St. Andrews from the MAC, St. John's from the WCAC. So thank you to them too. Here's going to be the format for today. We have our media sitting here in the first three rows. We've got a microphone that we'll bring out for media. I'll introduce the head coach, and then if you can introduce your players who are with you, and then we'll just open up to the media. We'll pass the mic around. If you can please introduce yourself by name and media outlet the first time you ask a question for each team. And then we'll have 10 to 20 minutes to ask questions, and we'll cycle each of the 7 teams through here. That'll be it. So first, I want to introduce Alpha Bangura, first-year head coach for Georgetown Day.
Yes,
appreciate you guys coming out here. If you want to introduce your team, and then we'll pass the mic around and get things started.
Thanks for having us, Mark. Appreciate it. It's a beautiful gym. I know Darren really well. So best of luck, man, with the gym and the success with it. As Mark mentioned, this is my first year at Georgetown Day School, and I brought 3 of my players here, 3 guys that I think are going to be pivotal for us this year. So I got a sophomore, Miles Schall. Go ahead and say something.
What's up?
All right, I got a junior, Peter McManus, and I have a junior, Arjun. Arjun, I'm still struggling with you. Arjun Bhargava. All right, so these are my 3 guys that we bought, so we're open to any questions and get the thing going.
I'll introduce myself. Marcus Helton, Made Hoops. Coach, wanted to ask you first, just
Sure.
What's it like stepping in, taking over the program? How have you been able to implement, your style, and how long you've been able to work with the guys, and just what have you thought so far, and what's the process been like?
So I got hired in April, and so I spoke to Mike Brooks, who I reached out to initially about the job, and so far it's been an interesting process. Obviously, when you are at a private school, it's different than some of the other experiences that I've had. Previously, I was at PBI, and I coached at Archbishop Carroll before that. But so far, I'm really enjoying the process. I think our biggest thing this year was about development. recruiting is something that we prioritize, but it's not our first priority. Development is what we really wanted to focus on, develop the guys that we have here. Now, in terms of talent, we don't have an extremely talented team in terms of, let's just say, guys who have size or extreme athleticism or anything like that. So our team is really going to consist of smart ball players, really system-oriented, playing, again, smart basketball, trying to get the best shot. And that's what we've been trying to implement throughout the time that I've been here so far. We started workouts, I think, in June. And so, we worked out 5 times a week for a few hours, and we've been able to really implement a lot of player development stuff and really just try to change the culture, raise the standard, and also have a different level of accountability than I think the guys probably have been previously used to. And so the transition so far has had its challenges, but at the same time, it's been pretty rewarding as well, because we've seen guys significantly improve in, I think, a 4-month period. And so, again, it's a working process, but so far, so good.
Coming in.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot. I think we've really benefited from this change, and I think one of the biggest benefits is the organization and the structure. I feel like it's more structured than last year.
Alfonso Duckett, Who's Mizzou Network. This question is for you, Coach. I heard you say that you all want to change the culture, so therefore, what kind of culture is you building in your program?
So GDS for us means grind, sacrifice. Grind, discipline, and sacrifice. All right, so we really wanted to implement a work ethic that, for us, I think sets the tone and sets the standard for how we're going to play this year. I think the previous years, the school hasn't had the kind of success that I think everyone would have liked. And so it was important to come in right away and just really change the mindset of the players and really get them to understand that if we're going to, change the program and turn things around, it really requires commitment from all of the players, even from families, everyone that's involved. We got a great athletic director in Mike Brooks, who's someone that I think is very basketball-minded, being a former player, being a former coach. And so it's about really building new habits, really working hard, and again, like I said, sacrificing, because the school academically is pretty rigorous. And so you got a lot of, student athletes who sometimes aren't able to commit to the sports aspect as much due to, I think, some of the demands in the classroom. And so what I try to get the guys to understand is, student athlete kind of goes hand in hand. You got to be a good student and a good athlete. And so just implementing those different things, trying to get them to believe in themselves. And again, confidence really comes through work, putting the work in. And so I think that's what we've been able to establish, just setting the tone for how we work, how we approach practice. And hopefully that's, those are habits that can translate into the game, and we can have a successful season due to, applying all those things.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, first, how you doing?
Good.
Ron Bailey, Rivals.com. How you doing, guys? How have you've played basketball at the highest levels on earth against some of the best players ever. How do you adjust your expectations basketball-wise for the high school level? It can't be what you're used to. You really had to dial yourself down to a certain degree. And then, relatedly, what's your cheese with that? What motivates you on a lower level?
I think for me, I really love development. And I really genuinely care about all of the players that I work with, right? And I think that is, to me, a prerequisite that all coaches should have. You should genuinely care about the players that you work with. And so you can come into a situation and have an idea of what you want to do in terms of your system and all these different things. But the question is, do you have the personnel to be able to do those things? And so once I realized, I guess in a nutshell, who we have, because we still haven't gone through tryouts yet. We still have tryouts next week. And so I think the core of our team is established, but we still need to figure a few things out. The biggest thing for me was, again, to reiterate, development, just getting guys better, getting them used to my way of approaching, the game of basketball. And obviously I'm going to approach it based on what I personally experienced, a lot of that. And, of course, having played in so many different places around the world, I've been able to benefit from a lot of really good coaches and their philosophies and strategies and things like that. And so, I think, again, it's more so about getting guys to buy in to, what it is that we envision as coaches and what we think is the best approach. And that's something that doesn't necessarily happen overnight. I think what we're doing requires a lot of patience, being adaptable, making a lot of adjustments. But that is something that I benefited greatly from being overseas. You go to these different countries and it's not America, and so you have to learn how to make adjustments. And so I've benefited from that. And so being here in this position, again, challenges are there, but really optimistic about the season and the future of the program. And so, again, just one day at a time for us.
How you doing? Houston Wilson from Pro Insight. You kind of alluded to it right now. You've been at some other, powerhouses before as an assistant. Kind of what are you trying to bring now, now that you're at the helm? What have you learned from your previous stops?
I think that, basketball, there's some aspects of it that will always be the same, but then there are components that are forever changing as well. And so it's important to, I think, commit to, things that will be relevant no matter what, like hard work, discipline, sacrifice, some of the things that I already mentioned. But at the same time, I think we are at a point in basketball where kids play a little bit different than what I was used to when I played. When I was at PVI, we had a lot of players that were ranked. Glenn Farello, who was the head coach there, was my coach at Eleanor Roosevelt. And so, I think one of the things that I learned from him is management of coaches, of players. We had a lot of talent, so of course it's easier to be successful when you have that kind of talent and you have size and all other things working in your favor. AAU programs that are able to send really good players to your schools and things like that. But I think for us, it's about establishing a new identity and moving away from, I think, what people perceive us to be, and rightfully so. Over the last several years, again, there's been some struggles with the program, but I think, it's up to us to go in and really change that based on the type of work that we put in. And again, I think we are gradually doing that every day.
Joseph Mitchell, Capital Hoops. This one's for the players. Just talk about adjusting to a new coach in his first year and how that transition has gone.
It's been good. We've been working over the summer since about June when Alpha came in. And, we've mainly just been focusing on, we're not the biggest team, but, we can't really recruit, big, talented players. But we've been just working on playing fast, playing smart, conditioning, all those type of things.
Just making sure we, put in all that work over the summer so we can, really change things around this season.
Owen Oliver, Panther Media. This is for the players as well. You guys opened the season with a couple less proven non-conference opponents. How important is it for you guys to get a couple wins under your belt, see that things are gelling under the new staff, kind of get that confidence?
It's definitely really important. That would be a chance for us to really just get our team chemistry together before we start playing bigger conference teams, and just see how we can play together and just really, yeah.
Yeah, we got a couple new players to the team this year, so I think that's going to be a good chance to really like gel as a team.
This question is for you, Miles. How have you grown as a basketball player since last year?
I feel like I've been like putting in the work, getting like reps up, been in the weight room, getting stronger. So I feel like, and I've been improved like a lot of areas of my game. So yeah.
Any last questions here? Ron Bailey.
Coach, this is for you. Are you still plugged into the Johnnies? Are you still part of that program at all?
I still have some really good relationships up there. Some of the guys who are in media, some of the professors that are still up there, a lot of the staff that coached, those guys have moved on. But in terms of just the overall community, I'm still in touch with a lot of people up there. Yeah, so I'm glad to see Coach Pitino up there. I think he's doing a great job. And so, yeah, I'll be rooting for them this year and beyond. So, yeah.
All right, last question here from Kyle.
How y'all doing? This is Kyle Alexander with SASN TV, and this question is for the players. Just with a new coach coming in, what has been one thing that you guys have worked on your individual game to fit with the new system that he's implementing?
For me, it's been my mid-range shot.
Yeah, we've been working on just a bunch of development, like ball handling, mid-range shooting, all of it, just to get ourselves together for the season.
Yeah, and like being able to like drive downhill off a dribble handoff and like play off of that.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. Best of luck this season, Georgetown Day.
Appreciate you guys.
Coach, if you don't mind going back real quick to Kirk Cross, who's with the DMV Hoops Pod. He's going to do a quick interview with you. And if we can get Potomac School up here, they will be next on the clock in about 5 minutes. Thanks, guys.
And now, post-podium access with Kirk Cross, Georgetown Day School, and head coach Alpha Bangura.
Kirk Cross with the DMV Hoops Podcast. I have first-year coach Alpha Bangura with Georgetown Day. Coach, you said a lot of great things up there. Welcome, first of all. And, I think you were asked this question before. Give me the 2 or 3 things that you're looking to do differently than you did when you were at PVI.
I think obviously the biggest difference is, I'm leading the program. At PVI, I played a support role, which was great. This is something totally different because I'm responsible for the entire basketball program from middle school all the way up to varsity. And so the biggest thing, for us is to, again, change the culture through good habits, through repetition, through accountability, and setting a standard. I think that's been different from what guys were used to and accustomed to. And then being really patient with the developmental process. We got a lot of young guys. Right now we haven't been able to recruit. That hasn't really been on our bucket list for this year. So just trying to get guys that are here to buy into the system, get them to, work as hard as they possibly can. We got a great staff of coaches who all come from a developmental background. And so, I think, again, just trying to bring all those different synergies and components together is what, we're trying to do. And right now, I think we are off to a good start with that.
And as you lead the program, the voices get a little bit louder, right? It's on your shoulders now, right? Yeah. I don't want to put you on the hot seat. Tell me why folks should come see Georgetown Day this year.
Well, I think, we're going to play really smart basketball. A lot of teams, I think, often rely on 1 or 2 players to dominate the games. And sometimes if you have that talent, that is acceptable in some situations. But for us, whether you have talent, whether you are extremely athletic or really quick, our system is really about making the right reads, making the right plays, just playing for one another, and playing from tip-off until the buzzer. And so I think that we're going to be fun to watch from a standpoint of not like highlights, but from playing smart basketball. And I think people are really going to appreciate the way we play and the way we approach the game.
Y'all going to make some noise?
I hope so. I hope so.
All right, we're going to see you in one of these gyms. We'll be at St. Andrews calling games and all around. Are you going to be in the MAC ISC Challenge?
Yes, sir.
We'll see you there at prep.
Can't wait.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, man.
You're tuned in to the DMV Hoops Podcast. Thanks for listening.